The title of Dr. Steve Rowe's presentation is Aim High on Becoming Distinguished. The designation Distinguished Toastmaster is reserved for Toastmasters who have achieved the highest level of contribution. Distinguished Toastmasters have practiced the art of public speaking and served their club, the district, and possibly the community. Many DTMs have been remembered as legendary. In this program, Steve is going to review how to earn the DTM designation, how to plan and prepare a DTM project, and what are some of the lasting benefits that DTMs enjoy. Steve has over 25 years of management experience in education, real estate, and private asset management. In 1995, he opened Arizona's first core knowledge school, chartered by the Arizona Department of Education. Steve has won numerous awards for public speaking and has instructed undergraduate and graduate programs since 2001 with the Grand Canyon University, University of Phoenix, and New England College. Steve Rowe has published 4 books on leadership. His most recent is 52 Tips for Leaders, A Year of Career Growth, which was released in August 2017. Fellow Toastmasters, please welcome Dr. Steve Rowe.
Thank you, Evangeline. Appreciate that. I don't know if you're going to see my background assistance right here, but in my last TLI presentation, one of my cats in my house hopped up on my desk. You saw this tail that went across the screen, Zoom bombed my presentation. I have more than 4 cats in my house, but I have about 4 cats that regularly come to visit me. So they know they have privileges in my heart and affection and on my desk. So if you see them come by, I don't want to start a cat fight. You may see my little friends. So DTM, and I always think about leadership when I think about distinguished Toastmasters. When trouble arises and things look bad, there's always one individual who perceives a solution and is willing to take command. Very often, that person is crazy. It was said by David Barry, and I want to encourage you to aim high, but to also have a fairly light heart about things to earn your designation as a distinguished Toastmaster. And I know the policies, house policies on muting yourself during the presentation and waiting for comments, but I'm a little bit lighter on that. I've taught college courses, and I like to have an interaction with people. So I'm going to be kind of light on the pause button there and to encourage you to speak up and to share your experiences. I do believe I have some people in the audience who've earned their DTM. I know I do. So we can draw on their experience as well in learning about what it means to be a DTM and how do you accomplish it. Now, I've earned 3 DTMs in Toastmasters. I think my first was around 95, 96. And the education program has changed, and it's changed once again since that. And I have not earned a DTM in the current Pathways program, although looks like there's some very good things that have been changed about the Distinguished Toastmaster program. So in this session, we're going to cover what does it mean to be distinguished for you? What are some of the benefits that you can experience about being distinguished? What are the nuts and bolts of going through the Pathways Distinguished Toastmaster program? And we can probably learn a bit from those who have experience with the Pathways program, those who have started the DTM project, those who have thought about it. We can learn from each other and deepen our own experiences along the way. So I want to talk about transformation as being a key element of being a distinguished Toastmaster. I was a Toastmaster without a DTM for about 4 years, and I suddenly realized that where I was, I could, with a reasonable amount of effort, complete the requirements to become a distinguished Toastmaster. And I had some fairly lofty ideas about the people who'd accomplished their DTMs. becoming a DTM, I think, is not just giving more speeches. It is about contributing to our world in a meaningful way. And it's also got to do with an internal development of character. What kind of transformation do you see happening with becoming a DTM? Have you noticed people in your club who are DTMs and noticed that they have something profoundly advanced in their character or in their speaking abilities? Any thoughts on that?
Steve, I realized that as the DTMs in the club actually improving their speaking skills and become better and stronger leaders. That's what I see in them.
I too associate becoming a DTM with being a stronger leader, someone who's had experience with other people and creating a positive change. Steve Feld, what do you think about the transformation that happens with the DTM?
Yeah, the one thing I notice is they still time me. So,
Yes, they do. You're talking about the joke that DTM stands for don't time me? Yeah.
Yeah, and they still time me. I don't know what their problem is. But I think one of the things I've noticed, especially in the Toastmaster world, is people treat you differently. They know what it is and what it takes to get there. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. And I did too. And I always looked up to people who had the DTM when I was on my first one.
Yeah, I remember when I joined my first club, there was a senior member of the club who had been a Toastmaster for years and years. And she just seemed to have this encyclopedia of knowledge about not just about Toastmasters, but on the art of graceful and meaningful influence with other people. And that was desirable to me. Anyone else, even if you don't have a DTM, what are your thoughts? What are the people who become DTMs? How have they transformed in a meaningful way? Or what do you see about them that's above average in their personal talent?
Steve, Angelica Fulton wrote something here. Confidence. I wonder if she would like to share with us her thoughts about gaining confidence as a DTM.
Are you willing to, Angelica?
Sure, it's not some. I'm not a DTM, but
That's okay.
I know other DTMs, and they just seem more confident. They more engaged. They're more personable, and like I said, just better overall leaders, I think. But they just seem, whether you're, I don't know if it's prepared or not, but you're eager. You're a little more fearless.
Fearless and like engaging with other people.
Yes.
Wow.
They just seem like.
How long have you been a Toastmaster, Angelica?
I've been a Toastmaster off and on for, oh my goodness, a long time. Oh, probably almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years? Wow.
Yeah, I started when I was about 20.
Okay.
So,
Please, Araceli, I can see your hand. I can't see everyone in my list, but go ahead.
I could share how I got my DTM. That at the beginning, there was no intention to get the DTM. And then when I found out that it was the highest level one could get in Toastmasters, I said, oh, maybe I should consider it. But still, I really did not do anything about it, especially the leadership path. But then, well, I was once an area governor. That time I was called area governor.
Yeah, me too.
Right. And then it was maybe even 3 years later, someone invited me from a club in Flagstaff. He said, our club is struggling. Do you think you could visit our club and maybe you could give us some ideas? Then I thought if I'm going to go there, drive from Sedona to Flagstaff to help them, I might as well get this for credit towards DTM. And because I was toying an idea, but I didn't do anything about it. Now it took me 2 years to get the club coaching because I had some personal problems with my husband being sick. But the second year, because they give you 2 years to do it, I did it. I changed that club from 5 members to many members and became distinguished. So I got that part. I said, if I have that part, then I could just do the rest. So I got my DTM 4 years ago.
Congratulations.
And thing is, Angelica, so she's talking about confidence. The other members, they look at me now like I am the expert. Of course, I'm not the expert, but if they look up to you like you are up there. Now, the reason I'm considering a second DTM now, because it was not part of my plan again, and just like at the beginning with my first one, but I just finished my one pathway. I said, okay, and about the middle with the second pathway. So I'm going to check about the leadership part of what I need to do. And that's why I am in this group. And it is a consideration because, again, if you keep speaking, and I did a lot of leadership because Toastmasters with assessment, they suggested leadership development. And that was the one I just finished. And I did 3 leadership projects. So I thought, I did 3, what's few more? And I am considering getting a second DTM.
You know, part of what I experienced before I was a DTM was that I said, I'm never going to do that. That's too far away. But I say, but I can work on this next goal. I can work on this next goal. And before I knew it, when I became an area governor, and that was the title when I first served the district, when I looked at what I'd already finished by the time I completed my year of district service, I was relatively close to earning the DTM. At that point, it became, I think I can get there. Nothing on the project list looked like it was too big, too insurmountable at that point. It's just that, I have to be with the program. And you know what? I enjoy the program. I have fun with the program. So why not do it? I'm a believer that if it's such a good idea to become a distinguished Toastmaster, if it's good for our soul, it's good for our character, we shouldn't have to be in a rush to get there. We should be in a position where we want it to saturate our character. We want to feel like it's changed us. And when I studied leadership at a big university and looked at what distinguishes leaders from managers, for me, the key is transformation. Managers don't necessarily transform their world, but leaders almost always transform their worlds. They do something to make a difference. Is there any other member of this group here who is looking at DTM but hasn't achieved it yet, who has a thought about what kind of character change happens to a DTM? And I'm not sure about the technology. I can't see the entire group right now. So if you let me know or just speak up.
Steve, this is Julie Miller. I've been a Toastmaster for 4.5 years. And
thank you for speaking up, Julie.
Yeah, what I find so intriguing about having a DTM, not only, and I totally agree with Angelica with the confidence, self-confidence, but it means something. It means something out of Toastmasters. I believe it means something in the business world. It brings credibility.
Nice.
It means that you've been able to overcome maybe speaking, leadership, obstacles, issues that you've had personally, you've been able to identify and overcome. And I'm proud of being a member of Toastmasters, but I'll be even prouder maybe in a year and a half when I have this completed, because again, I do believe it brings credibility to the individual who has those initials behind their name. Also, I think that the district looks at its DTMs as resources, and I think the opportunity to do more within the district will increase as you become a distinguished Toastmaster. They're always looking for volunteers, but when you look for people to run workshops like you're doing, most of the facilitators have the DTM after their name, or quite a bit of them do. And I just think I admire everyone that has their DTM, especially in this district, because I've got to know them. And I think it means something. It adds credibility.
Thank you for that. I like that, the idea that the DTM provides a mark of credibility, not just in Toastmasters, but with the business world that we may explore. And I really do believe that Toastmasters is an organization that can change the world. We can be an effort for peace. We are present throughout the world with different political ideologies and different movements. And Toastmasters is something that every community can find value in. And the distinguished Toastmaster can help to make that happen even further, because we bring a higher level of service to the organization and to our world. So is there anyone here, Julie, I was going to ask, it sounds like you're about a year to a year and a half away toward completing your DTM. You had DTM project yet to do, or any other big milestones?
I have to figure out my DTM project. I've almost finished level 5 and 2. And 2 paths. I'm on my level 5th in one, and then finishing up level 4 in the other. I'm coaching right now. I don't know if I'm going to make the coach distinguished or lead the coach or the team or club to distinguish this year. So I am a little bit unclear of what are the requirements under pathway to become distinguished. I know there's coaching, there's mentoring and sponsorship, and I think the youth leadership opportunity. So that was one question I have for attending today, is in addition
we'll
to.
get there, yes.
Okay, thank you.
We'll definitely get there. Thank you, Julie. Is there anyone else who has a thought about DTM or transformation?
Hi, Steve. This is
Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
well,
ahead.
so all right. Hi, Steve, and hi, everyone.
Let me introduce you. If everyone doesn't know, Jim has been a recent district director with Arizona Toastmasters, so he knows something about distinguished Toastmastership.
All right. Well, I can tell you a little bit about transformation. For those who know me or who never met me before, I was going to drop out of Toastmasters after about a year and a half. But something changed after becoming an area governor, division governor, and then getting my DTM. But I'll tell you what the DTM has done, or Toastmasters has done for me. It has transformed me where I am fearless, kind of like what Angelica has said. I was listening to what she said, and also about some of the other people about confidence. 2 years ago, for those who weren't aware, I think it was 2019, the program quality director stepped aside, resigned, and the district was looking for someone to replace the program quality director. And at that time, I knew Michael Holian came. He was looking all over the state. And he finally came down to Tucson, and he said, "Hey, Jim, would you like to step up and fill this position?" And, at that time I said, "Well, I'm not going to get credit, just so you know that, because the person resigned." But I felt confident enough to be able to step up and volunteer to fill that position, not knowing what the job entailed. And that's what most of us are. We step into a position and we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. But once I said yes, then I found out, oh, by the way, Jim, you have to organize a spring conference and you have to do TLI. Wow. And so that has transformed me. And for those who knew me 2 years ago, I became Captain Toastmaster, and I was not afraid to lead the district into a successful district conference, and then also becoming being elected as the district director the following year. So I would say, yes, reaching for DTM will change your life. That's all I have to say.
Wow, that is such a powerful thought and a testament to what you've gone through. And I didn't know all of that, Jim. Hey, Jared Kent said that leadership is being the first egg in the omelet. And I think you certainly have put in your time as being first egg. So I want to thank you for all you've done for District 3. You talked about being Captain Toastmaster and being on a journey where you did not know all the things you were agreeing to when you set sail. And I want to encourage you to think about the Toastmaster experience as being a marvelous journey. The DTM process is a marvelous journey. It's as if we get on a boat and we say, I cannot see the shore on the opposite side of the sea, but others have been there and others can tell me that there is a place out there, and that if I step foot on this boat and take my job of being a leader responsibly, I can learn from others and I can accomplish something big that will change my life. I think that's possible for all of us in Toastmasters. Unfortunately, not everyone chooses to continue to become a distinguished Toastmaster, but rather than just talk about being a DTM, how to do a DTM project, I want to infect you with the idea that this is a journey worth taking, and one that will profoundly offer new opportunities in your life. So I know we have a number of people who want to know, how do you get there? How do you prepare the ship? How do you prepare the journey? So let's take a look. In order to complete this journey, you have to do a number of things. Now, most Toastmasters are starting this journey already. If you look over on the education side, to be a DTM under the current program, you must complete 2 pathways. And the pathways, you can start on the DTM project before you complete the second pathway. They have an opportunity, once you've completed one pathway and then you've gotten to level 3 on the second pathway, you can then start talking about recruiting people to be part of your DTM project. But the thing you must do when you are activating your DTM project, you must call World Headquarters, or you must email World Headquarters. You must communicate with World Headquarters and say, I have completed 1 pathway, I've completed 3 levels on the next pathway. Please give me the resources I need to do my DTM project. And the website on your pathway screen will now show some new material. This is the only way you will get it, is by communicating with World Headquarters and asking for your DTM project to be activated. So on education in the screen, I would have put the DTM project on another point here, which says leadership, but that's okay. There is some education aspect to this as well. So we'll get more into the DTM project in a second, but to set sail on the DTM journey, you must have served as a Toastmaster officer. Now, what's good about TLI is I could pretty much guess that everyone here is a club officer, or has been a club officer, or is planning to be a club officer, or is likely to be one in the near future, even if they haven't been elected. To be a DTM means to know what it means to run a Toastmasters club. So to qualify for DTM, you must have served as a club officer for at least a year. Now, you can do that in 2 non-consecutive 6-month terms. You could be elected in January 2022, and you can be elected for 2023 for a 6-month term. and you can get credit for it. But to me, it makes sense that you'd want to do your leadership in the club as a 12-month experience where you're focused on making a difference in your club. Once you're a club officer, attend TLI. The slide I have was prepared by a different district, and they had district-sponsored COT. Jim, you could correct me on this. I'm guessing that stands for College of Toastmasters. But TLI is our instrument for officer training. Attend TLI, participate in the program, and talk up the distinguished club program to the other officers in your club, and do something to promote the growth of your club, growth or replenishment of members. Most of us during the COVID years have seen a drop in membership. So this is a good time to show leadership, optimism, and good planning, and to make a difference. Having served as an officer of the club, you can then think about becoming a district officer. Now, there is no requirement that I know of that says that you have to have been a club president to be a district leader. There's no requirement that you served as a club vice president. I'm not sure that you couldn't be appointed to be a district officer without having served as a club officer at all. But I think it makes a lot of sense for us to complete a club leadership year before we become a district leader. Most of us who say yes to the challenge of being a district leader will start with the office known as area director. Now, I served it, as did several others here, as an area governor, which is pretty much an equivalency. But you are asked to serve a one-year term as district officer. Jim talked about filling an appointment for a Toastmaster year, and I think Jim probably stepped in after a critical cutoff point where he didn't get a full year experience on it. But he said, that's okay. I know this journey I'm moving on will give me the rewards I'm looking for. And what you want to do, the ideal would be to serve the entire year from July 1 through June 30th of the following year. But if you get called to duty after the start of the year, there is a grace period in the year when you can get credit for your Toastmaster year most of us get credit for that by being a district, area director.
President,
But there are a number of other positions which can also give you the credit for district leadership, probably a division director, public relations officer, district treasurer, or it's now got another district finance officer. There are 7 top leadership positions in the district. Serving any one of those will count as a district term and get you credit for that. So you've done a number of things by the point you've met this yellow milestone under district leadership. Now, thinking about you can begin working on club extension while you are a district leader. And I would encourage you not to wait till after you're out of district leadership, but to think about helping build other clubs while you are a district leader. It's ideal in many ways. So if you get named as a club sponsor, which means that your name is on the record of a new club as someone who stands by the club, you will get credit for your DTM. Now, you can get this credit in 2 other ways. You can do a speechcraft program, or you can do a youth leadership program. Has anyone here conducted a speechcraft program? Speak up if you have, and let me hear about your experience briefly.
I have, Steve.
Sandy, go ahead. It's good to see you, Sandy. You're a distinguished Toastmaster.
I am.
And
Thank you.
You've started clubs, and I've been in clubs with you, and it's been a few years since I've seen you.
Yeah.
Tell me about speechcraft.
Well, I was actually speechcraft chair one year. And when I saw what a speechcraft can do, I became a real fan. What we did was promote speechcraft in the vicinity, in the community, and charged for it, perceiving that attendees would have a little skin in the game and think that it was something of value. We geared it, one of them we geared toward interviewing during all of the table topics, but we held it at our regular club meeting time, and it was definitely a club growth effort. We had about 6 people attend, and I think 4 of them completed the 6-week Speechcraft. And we offered at the end of that time to apply the $20 that we had charged toward their new member fee.
Nice.
Which was a win-win situation. And 2 of them joined, and therefore we just barely made our goal by the end of the year. It was the last meeting in June.
It is a fun experience leading Speechcraft. If you have been Toastmaster for your club and a club officer, being a Speechcraft leader isn't a huge challenge. It's a different activity, but it's so similar to what we do in leading Toastmaster clubs that it makes a lot of sense.
Well, Toastmasters International has a packet that tells you exactly what you need to do. And when you get that packet, it's got a number of booklets for the participants, and it's got some guides to tell you how to put on a Speechcraft. So it's really a no-brainer.
Okay, so Speechcraft, I found, like you, I found that it was a lot of fun. I think I've run about 3 different Speechcrafts, both within a club and outside of a club. I actually started a club using a Speechcraft that was not in a club setting, but we went to a church and offered to the members of the community around the church a Speechcraft program, just as you described it. We held it, and they had so much fun they didn't want to stop. So I said to the group, you know, if you want to keep going, we can make a Toastmasters club out of this and help you get educational awards in the program. And that's the short version of it. But that club is still part of District 3. The club met its goal. It took a while, but running the Speechcraft was the first step, and it was a big deal. It was really an important moment in my Toastmasters journey toward becoming distinguished. Now, another way you can get this credit, you can get credit for your DTM by being a club sponsor, running a Speechcraft, or you can run a youth leadership program. And I know that people have had so much fun running youth leadership programs. There must be someone in this room who can tell me about what a youth leadership program is all about, because I bet there are a lot of people who have no idea what it's all about. Can anyone speak to that?
Steve, I can speak to that. I've done 2 of them.
Hey, Robert.
Well, the first one I did it only because that's the only thing I needed to do to get my first DTM. So I thought, I was hesitant to do this, which is a youth leadership, which is basically a Speechcraft for students, usually 11 to 14 years old. So I went to a junior high that asked about having a Speechcraft, and what I did and what I do with Speechcraft or youth leadership is I bring in members from my club to do the educational presentations. So each session you're supposed to do an educational presentation, and then the kids in the class run the meeting.
Right.
So you help let them organize it, and they run it just like a Toastmasters meeting, but they are the ones that run it. And so I bring in different people, and the reason I do that, especially for youth leadership, is that I myself may not connect with every single child in the group. But when I bring in different people, I'm hoping that each child would be connected to at least one speaker that comes in. And I'm not always the best in all the different areas, so why not bring in what I think is the better people to do presentations, like maybe how to evaluate. And what's interesting in that one is the person I brought in to do the evaluation, this kid had a 30-second speech, and he spent a minute and a half evaluating that 30-second speech. And then I most recently did another one for a school nearby in Sedona here. So that was also another interesting experience. And I offered other people in the club to come in and be the educational presentations to let them experience what a youth leadership was about, and hopefully they would want to lead one in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that says it all. I have run a speechcraft program with my son's third grade class. He's now a college graduate, but I've run it with a third grade class, holding a speech contest at the end of the youth leadership program, inviting other Toastmasters to come in and judge the thing, getting help from Toastmaster colleagues to help run the youth leadership program is recommended. And you can have so much fun doing it. I can't begin to tell you the warmth and the good feelings you will achieve. Teachers in public schools, once they understand the concept of what a youth leadership program is about, they are so grateful to have the chance to have assistance for this. And you know what? It meets Arizona educational standards too for speaking. Angelica, I see your hands up. Please talk to me.
For the youth leadership program, is it a certain duration? Is it how long?
You know,
Is
I'm
it
not.
one meeting or just a series of events?
It's a series of events. I know I've run a youth leadership program as 6 meetings or 8 meetings about that, and that qualifies. I don't know that there's a required number, but it's more than one meeting.
Okay.
Usually 6 to 8.
6 to 8 was my experience as well. Yes.
Okay,
We do have a youth leadership chair in the state. We do have a speechcraft chair in this state. And these are people the district has appointed as people who can help you with the knowledge and experience to get you going, to answer questions. So when you are ready to take on the challenge of being running a speechcraft or a youth leadership, you only have to do one. You can get some help doing that, or to be a club sponsor. Finally, to complete the DTM journey, you want to help build a new Toastmaster club. This is on the club support line on this screen. You can serve that as a club mentor or as a club coach. A club mentor works with the club for a period of about 6 months or longer, helping the club become a fully installed, well-educated club. I want to tell you, I have volunteered as a club coach 3 or 4 times. I have never been successful as a club coach in helping a low membership club meet its goals, but I have known Toastmasters who have. I'm going to tell you that being a club mentor, in my opinion, is much easier than being a club coach. But heck, after you earn your DTM, why not try to be a club coach for a club that needs your help and to help bring the benefits of our program to other people? That's the way I see it. So if you get to the point of this program, you're looking at the DTM, I would have a conversation with your division director or with the club growth director and say, I want to become a club mentor. I want to be a club sponsor. I want to be a club coach, and get assigned to help lead a new club. Or perhaps you are in the position where you know that there is a potentially new club, perhaps with a corporate location, and you could say, let's bring Toastmasters to XYZ Corporation. Let's bring Toastmasters to the Senior Citizen Center or to the youth programs, and let's bring a club that can last after we're done. And you create a legacy. It's a very good experience. Has anyone had a good experience as a club mentor or a club coach they can speak to here?
Yeah, I've done both.
Talk to me. That's exciting.
Yeah, mentoring is so much easier.
Yeah. I don't want to discourage people from doing it, but yeah, mentoring is.
It's exciting. It is an experience, and I highly recommend it. Something you just really have to do. And it really pushes you as a person individually and a Toastmaster on your leadership abilities, organizational skills, and really starting to think outside the box and bring a team together to solve that problem if you're trying to grow that club and bring in members.
Hey, thanks so much.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
I was a club coach too. And one trick that's important, is it still 12 members or fewer that merit?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think the district director has to appoint you, or was the district? Yeah, I think you have to be appointed by the district director, and you have to bring the club membership. I think was it to 20 by the end of the year,
No,
or
plus
you get
five. It's a
plus
plus
five?
five.
Okay.
But one trick is, if you've got like 6 members in a club, it's really hard to have a really successful meeting. So the other people in the district can fill seats for you and provide experienced role execution. Like somebody can be the Toastmaster, and maybe one experienced person can be an evaluator, and one of the members can be another evaluator. You can
lead an educational session where you do the evaluation workshop or the moments of truth, and bring that to the club and give the members of that club something of value.
But definitely do let other members of District 3 help you fill seats.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Let's move on. I know that we have limited time and we haven't really said much about the DTM project. So I'm going to step ahead right now. Thank you all for offering your thoughts about those challenges in becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. Let's talk about the DTM project. Steve, I think you mentioned that you've completed a DTM project. Can you say something about that without taking too much time on it? Give us something we didn't know.
Yeah, when you request your DTM project from Toastmasters, it doesn't happen immediately. It took about 2 weeks for it to pop into my pathways, but I'm still going through it. I did the first presentation and I still have the second presentation to go. So I just have that and Speechcraft, and then we got number 2.
So that'll be your second DTM?
Yep.
Wow.
First one on pathways. So the other one was, I got in right before the legacy cut off.
Yeah. Okay, so good point. The office at World Headquarters is doing other things. You put in your request and it may happen immediately, but it may be a couple of weeks later. So let's talk briefly about what a project is. Sandy, I know you're a project manager. I steal from the world of project managers all the time in order to think about this. But to do a DTM project, you need to think about doing something that makes an impact on the world. The projects in the DTM project should be reaching toward a specific outcome. From the start, you would want to do some serious planning about what you want to accomplish. Toastmasters will help you out with that by giving you a goal resource guide and a goal completion worksheet to help you plan it. A project should have a definite ending where you can say, success, we made it. And you want to define that before you start. It's not a project unless you involve other people. You are demonstrating your leadership skills by this. You can do so much more. Get other people involved, do some planning, ask people for help in reaching your DTM project, and put them on your team to get the job done. You want to be able to define your completion so that you avoid project creep. That's a condition where the project end keeps redefining itself and moves further and further away as people see the value of what you're doing. You want to say, what is the success right from the start? Finally, you want to see, is it meaningful? Is it something that's going to be adding some value to the world, or is it just keeping busy? So a project is a meaningful contribution to an organization. And Toastmasters wants this to be something that you are doing for your organization and not just something that's filing papers. It's got to be not just an activity, but something that's meaningful. Completing your DTM, I think we've already identified, is extremely good for the soul. I looked at Toastmasters magazine and I looked up benefits of earning a DTM. Here are some of the things I saw completing a DTM can indicate for you a source of pride, giving you a sense of achievement. I think if you are on the Toastmasters journey, you are always going to be learning new ways of communicating and leading. But as a distinguished Toastmaster, you're going to be meeting and talking to people who are much more sophisticated doing this. You're going to develop your network throughout the state with people who've done a lot of different things, and you're going to learn a lot from people, not just with your club, but with an extended network of high performance individuals. And along the way, you're going to learn new career and life skills. This is a program that can seriously change your life. I'm a believer that Toastmasters has created a pathway of value for all of us. I think that we potentially can become a legendary individual to people in our own clubs. People can say, wow, do you know what Sandy did in Toastmasters? Do you know what Jim did in Toastmasters? Stories are told about what people do in our organization, and they remember it, and it reinforces our culture. The DTM is our highest level of achievement, and it indicates someone who's really put their heart into making a difference, not just for themselves, but made a difference for the community. In years past, people had come to Toastmasters and they wanted to get their DTM fast. And we had a number of years where people were putting in high performance leadership projects, running a speech contest. And while running a speech contest is an excellent thing to do, it's not as challenging as what we might expect with the DTM project. With the DTM project, we want some level of creativity to walk where no one has gone before and to create something that's got some value. I see a question from Araceli, more details about the club mentor, please. I'm not sure if we answered that, but I just saw the chat just popped up. So a club mentor is assigned by the district director as the club is before it's formed. The club mentor works like an officer of the club, but not becoming an officer of the club, to help the club get started. As I see it, ideally, the club mentor works with the club for a period of 6 months or longer. You can give it more if you want, but the point is to help the club to become self-sustaining and to become a viable Toastmaster club on one's own. Number of people commented on having multiple DTMs. I've completed 3. I know Nancy Starr Cassidy has earned, I think, 7. Wow. Yeah, it's a thing. And you know what? There are challenges here, but I think the path is worth it to us. If you want to be a legendary person, if you want to have this kind of transformation available to you, it is worth set sailing where others haven't gone before. Sandy, it looked like you had a thought you wanted to add to that.
I have 2 questions. One is, do club coach sponsor mentor projects completed under the legacy program carry over to the Pathways program?
I can answer what had happened with me. I was doing, I was doing a second DTM, and I wanted to know with my second DTM, what about all the things that I did in legacy, like sponsors, mentors, all of those. I had not done a coaching at that time, but what they did when I called War headquarters, it's almost like you have these things that you've completed in the hopper. So while you're working towards your DTM, it's gonna all add up. But you have to keep some really good records, because if you think about things that happened back in the legacy time, that was a long time ago. So once you call World Headquarters, you go into your file and you can see all the things, and they are applicable to your next DTM, which you don't lose anything, which is really cool.
So I recommend, thank you, Martha. I recommend that every Toastmaster who loves this program and loves getting involved with some of the things we talk about, create a Toastmaster resume, a document that shows here's what I've accomplished and when I accomplished it with a few pertinent details. It's not hard to do, but create a resume that you can show other people what you've completed.
And the other Steve answered my other question. So thank you, Steve. Steve's.
Thank you,
You're
Steve.
welcome.
Vivek, I see a question on the screen. I've completed ACB ALB from previous path. Will my old ACB ALB be counted toward a path? I believe the answer is no. I think the idea is those would be part of the legacy program. The goal now is to complete a pathway. And there is not substituting that, but I can only give you that as a probability answer and not as a definitive answer. But I believe if you've completed an old educational achievement, you get to keep that educational achievement, but now you've got to work on a pathway. Angelica, you still have a hand showing on your screen. Did we answer your question?
Okay, can somebody give me an example of the DTM project, like of one that they've done?
Yeah, I will tell you, I completed a high performance leadership project, which is similar to a DTM project. I'll turn to Steve in a second. I completed for one club a mentoring program where I documented how we would move a new member from joining the club to having a mentor assigned and a mentor curriculum available to the club so that new members would be able to have the benefit of some or organized approach toward mentoring. Now, that's one thing I did as one of my DTMs. Steve, do you want to mention your DTM project?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways. I mean, you have like the impact event coming up, so you can get involved in that. There's special committees, if you will, where you develop the team and lead them through it. Those are great high performance or DTM projects. I'm using one from last year where I was involved in many things, and it was tough to just choose one. So just get involved in the district and they will actually say, this would be a great DTM project or high performance leadership project.
Yeah, in addition, if you have a job or a career, you could find a problem in your workplace or career that Toastmasters could provide a support of a solution toward, and you can work on that, document what you've done. You could have a consultative team working with you, which involve people who are not Toastmasters, as well as Toastmasters helping you guide you to make your completion of your project.
And I was thinking, you can actually use this in a volunteer situation. So if you're volunteering for an organization, and let's say they need to do a fundraiser, you step up, there's your project.
Great, thank you.
Evangeline, I want to offer to you the chance. Go ahead and moderate the final few minutes of our meeting.
On the whole, it was a very, very successful event that we have tonight. And I appreciate your thoughts, Steve, the information you have given us. And I appreciate the information that the attendees had given us. So thank you very much, everybody. And I would like to ask you for the last 5 minutes, please fill out your presenter's evaluation. The link is on the chat. And if you want to, and thank you very much, and see you in the main room. You can leave the room, be sure that you are not leaving the meeting. So please, maybe what Steve said before, 1 minute for the evaluation, unless you have some objections.
Hey, I want to thank everyone for participating and speaking up today. And anyone who thinking that the DTM is too daunting, just get started. You don't have to get there in the next month. You just do one thing at a time, and the goal will be there faster than you realize.